Well, it looks like I bought myself a great assortment of comic books and magazines from the Honey Hole. Let's go back to Primetime Treasure headquarters and take a look at what we found. All right, Daisy, what do you think? We got it all here in Primetime Treasure headquarters. We are going to take a look through this. I'm excited to show you guys all the stuff that I wound up picking up. What? You want to look at it right now? All right, let's look at it right now. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Thanks for coming by to check out another video. As you can see, I just bought a really big collection of comic books and magazines. Daisy is very excited, wanting to see me go through it. But before I show you those items, I have to show you something that just sold because it relates to the collection that I purchased. And that's these right here. These are Mad magazines. Now, I don't want to date myself too much, but some people might actually not even be aware of what these are because they actually just stopped publishing them. But they're basically humor, satire magazines. They basically are commentaries on whatever's going on in the day in the news. You know, it has a lot of pop culture stuff in it. This guy you're always going to see on the cover. This is Alfred E. Neuman. They started making these in the 1950s. They're very hard to find in the 1950s. You'll find some from the 60s, not as much. 70s, 80s for sure are more common. 90s and above I generally stay away from. So I'm really looking for things 80s or below. And you're going to see here, there is a big stack of them. Right there is 50 Mad magazines. Now, a couple things I want to point out about these. One, you're often going to find them damaged. People did not take good care of these. In the back of the books, there were these trifolds like this. So basically what you would do is you would fold this in a trifold and it would make a unique picture. So let's see if I could even show you that right here. You fold in these sides together. And so if we did that, you see right here, I'm just going to show you what this would look like here. It doesn't matter because it was already folded. You see there, we fold that together and now it looks like a plane. So a lot of the times you're going to see that the back of these are folded, and that's okay. People aren't going to care about that. And you're going to find them that they have stains on them, okay? So like right here, you could see these stains. So that's common. You're going to see that there's, you know, that the corners are blunted and stuff. You're going to see little creases along the spine and things like that. All of that stuff doesn't really matter as long as there's not massive damage to them, like the whole cover's ripped off or something like that. And even that, you could still sell some of those as long as they're mixed in with a big collection of ones that have the covers on them. And what I mean by some of the pop culture stuff that you'll see on here, like here's a good example right here. You'll see they would typically take Alfred E. Neuman's face and integrate it with a character. So here's Star Wars, and you can see here it's 1981. So they're doing something, you know, related to the movie if it just came out. Or, you know, here's another one from 1981 where we've got Clark Kent and then we've got Alfred E. Neuman in the background. So sometimes he's integrated with the character or sometimes he's just there causing some type of havoc. Pink Panther loves it. Read some of them once in a while. Right now I was reading another comic book. You can see this one here, pretty damaged, not severely damaged, but it's got a bunch of creases on. Look at that, right from that angle. But people still buy them. They love this stuff. They eat it up, okay? These 50 right here just sold for $130, okay? So you have seen me purchase these throughout the year at garage sales, rummage sales, estate sales, all sorts of places. I try to get them for $1 or less. Try and buy them in bulk so you could usually get them for less than $1 a piece, and they sell really well. So this is going to relate again to some of the items that I just purchased. So I wanted to show you the rate. Sometimes you could even get more for them, and the older they are, the more you're going to be able to get out of them. And yeah, the better the condition, the more you will get out of them. But, you know, again, don't worry. They could have stickers on them like this. It just doesn't matter. Creases, all this kind of stuff. Covers could be loose, almost coming off. Doesn't matter. Don't let that, for these comic book magazines, be anything that's going to prevent you from picking them up if you get them for the rate that I just sold. They sell, and they sell pretty fast, and I never ever have to hold on to them, ever. So try to look for Mad magazines. All right, now I'm going to pack this up, and then we're going to go take a look at all those items that I just got. Okay, so the first thing that you may be wondering is where I purchased all of these things. Not at a garage sale, not at an estate sale, not at a rummage sale. No, I purchased these items from a local collector. I call this place the Honey Hole. This is a person who winds up buying massive collections of things, and then I wind up going to him about once a month and just going in and just grabbing the stuff that I want. He buys them from people who are pretty much, you know, desperate for cash, and so they're trying to get some money, and he gets them for less than wholesale, and then he flips them to me for even also less than a wholesale price. And so let's say, for example, he may spend $300 on something, he'll sell it to me for $400 or something like that. And so then I could turn around and piece it out and sell it for a lot more money. So the key is I'm taking the time and have the patience to piece all these things out. He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to make the quick flip. That's how the relationship works. I'll tell you how much I paid for all of this at the end, but now let's dive into it. Hey, what are you doing with that sock in your mouth? Are you stealing socks again? You are guilty, aren't you? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What, are you going to come charge me? You just dropped your sock. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do? Oh, you're the boss, aren't you? Okay, so this entire box right here is filled with Mad magazines from front to back. And it starts here with this issue from 1971. And it just keeps going. And fortunately, which will make it much easier for me to process, they're already in chronological order. So they just keep going back, and you'll see from the images on here, I'm not going to show you all of them because there's just too many. There's hundreds of them. And there's hundreds of them because it's not just that box, which goes back to 1987, but then this second box right here, this one is also filled with Mad magazines. And the great thing also is they all come, you see we've got the Godfather there, they all come with bags, so that's great. And the bags are in pretty decent condition. So we got Planet of the Apes there. It's just great in terms of all these different issues here. See, we've got 1973 right here. They just keep going back in chronological order. So really neat. Remember the value that I told you earlier. So for 50 books in the 80s and 90s, that sold for 130. So these going back to the 70s will sell for more. So there is just tons of them. I'll pull out another one just from this box, just like another little sample so you could see some more from the 80s. Who remembers Pee Wee Herman? We've got Pee Wee Herman there from Pee Wee's Playhouse. I remember this one. See, these are the ones, these ones from the mid 80s and late 80s. These are the ones I had when I was a kid. There we've got Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cop. So lots of cool, and this is a classic one right here of Michael Jackson. So there's just so many of these. It's great. And they go all the way back. In this box, there's Three Men and a Baby. Let's see, there we got the California Raisins. So it's just awesome. So these go all the way back until 2001. But the vast majority of them are 70s and 80s, which is exactly what I'm looking for. The other thing is, you'll notice, I'm going to pull this one out from 1971, is these are really in nice shape. Like compared to some of the ones that I showed you earlier from the one that sold, which were all kind of beat up, these are really in remarkable condition. And I think the reason for that is because these were likely kept in bags for the majority of the time that they were in storage. Unlike most of the time, you don't find that, and that's why a lot of times they're ripped and all beaten up. So right here, what I've got in these two boxes will pretty much pay and probably profit, be in profit after I saw this for what I paid for everything. And again, I'll tell you that price at the end while I show you all this stuff. Now, while these things are all bagged and they don't have boards in them, but the Mad magazines I found, you don't have to sell them with boards in the back. If you want to put them in there, you can. It's just going to be an extra expense, but you could sell them just like that. In fact, you could also sell them without any bags around them whatsoever. You just would want to bubble wrap them all around and the whole lot together, and then just wrap it up nice and tight, protect it with some cardboard at the outside, and then just put it in the box, cover it in void fill, and then you're all set to go. This was just a random one that was just kind of sitting around that I picked up and I added to this collection. They had a lot of these specialty issues, so I picked those up. And by the way, if you see anything in this video that I'm going to show you that you like or that you're interested in and you want to get first dibs on, all you have to do is let me know that. Just send me a message either in my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, the link to that's down below, or you could just send a message within the YouTube channel here, right down in the comment section. I will get back to you and we could work out a deal or something like that. I've done that with a lot of people and given them first dibs for being viewers and subscribers and that sort of stuff. But you are going to need to have bags and boards if you want to get into reselling comic books, because a lot of them you are going to have to protect. And so right here, I also happen to pick up some supplies. I've always said that BCW is the company that I go by, and I love their bags and boards. I really love their product. And so I wound up picking up, these come in lots of 100. So these would be about 10 bucks a piece. So I got those. So that would be like 20 bucks right there. And then I also got some bags. So we've got the bags here. These are the Silver Age bags. So they're a little wider than the regular bags for the current edition. So I wound up getting 4 of these. And depending on where you go, these could even be 10 bucks a piece. So right there, you're talking like 70 bucks. Now this person charged around 7 bucks, 8 bucks for them. But still, right there is around $60 to $70 just in supplies right there. So that's the only kind of boring thing I'm going to show you, but you need to know that because that goes into the whole total price at the end for everything. So I'm going to put these over to the side. So that's 2 of the boxes. And then I'm going to show you some other things here. So, again, going back to just the great condition, these are called Space Wars. Now, I'm not sure if any of you remember these magazines. If you had them when you were a kid and they're bringing back memories, let me know that in the comment section. But this is the first issue, I believe, which dates back to March 1979. You can see there, we've got Superman on the cover. Here we've got Battlestar Galactica. So there's a lot of science fiction stuff that you are going to see in this lot. Lots of outer space stuff. There's a lot of these Space Wars books in here. I'd say there's, I don't know, probably like 14, 15 of them in here. And so this many of them, just these would probably sell for somewhere around $50. So that's pretty much the going rate for these. But it depends what's on the market at the time. You could see here we've got Star Wars stuff in here on the covers. There's lots of cool things. There's some C-3PO. And then if Esme's watching this, which I'm sure she is, I have got a bunch of Star Trek stuff too. So not only do we have Star Wars, but we also have Star Trek. So this is called Enterprise Incidents. A lot of you Trekkies are probably familiar with these. These issues here go back to, you could see there in the corner, 1985. So these are 1980s. Anything 1980s in terms of science fiction magazines, horror magazines, outer space magazines, definitely pick them up. And just look at the condition of these. Like, I'll just pull this one out just randomly. I mean, these things are in, really, they're in, I'd say, very fine to near mint condition. I mean, they are just great. The insides of them look awesome. We've got the Terminator right there inside this one. They are just really nice. All the pictures look great. So some of these could go for like 10 bucks a piece. So it's really just a matter of me coming up with a lot price. We've got the Gremlins on here. It's funny. Actually, it looks like I have a double. So we've got a double here. We've got Conan. There's just a lot of these. So Enterprise Incidents. There we've got Spock. So of course there's going to be Star Trek stuff on there. here we go. We've got just some random collector's edition books. Here we've got a Star Wars book with Darth Vader. This is from 1980. And again, look at the condition of this for 1980. This Star Wars magazine, this is just, again, in incredible shape. And the whole entire collection is like that. It's just amazing. Someone just made a purchase from my eBay store, and it's probably someone through a sellers event that we have right now going on at the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. I came up with this event today called Reseller Dominoes. So in the Resellers Dominoes event, what happens is I put up somebody's store link and I invited everybody from the group. We got almost 12,000 members to make a purchase from that person, and whoever made a purchase from that person got to put up their store link, and then other people were then asked to go buy from that person. Then if someone made a purchase from that person, they put up their store link, and it just kept going like that, like a series of dominoes. This is the first time we ever tried this event. I come up with these like random ideas to support other sellers, and it was really, really popular today. I mean, we have had so many comments. Last time I checked, there were over 215 comments. There's been tons of sales. I bought something from one of the sellers in the group, Troy Shockley. I got the Batman pillowcase, so thank you for that, Troy. And then 2 people came in and bought something from me. So Emily Stepik, thank you for purchasing the Batman poster with Adam West and Burt Ward. I appreciate that. And then Andrew Freeman from the Profit Monsters YouTube channel went and bought a Buffalo Sabres jersey. So thank you. Go check out Profit Monsters, by the way, on YouTube. He just hit over 1,000 subscribers. So we're real excited for him with that. And we are now going to jump back into this collection and show you some of the other things that were here. So there's lots of other Space Wars books, so we've got those as well. So there's just a lot of stuff that's in there. There's some more Enterprise Incidents books. There's just a ton of stuff here. And again, the condition is really great. There's another box over here, and this one is, there's a couple of these Enterprise Incidents books here as well. So there's a few more of those for anyone who likes Star Trek and science fiction related stuff. I'll tell you what's in this one more in just a moment, but let me go over to this one here. This one is great as well. These are 70s and some 80s ones. So this one here is it's a magazine. It's called Fantastic Films. And it's all about science fiction films. Like this one's about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And this one here looks like there's 2 issues. There's posters that are included as well. So we've got some Superman ones here. And again, the condition is just crazy. It's really nice. This one's 1978 as well. Well, this entire box is filled with these Fantastic Films ones, and the whole entire thing. There's tons of them in here. Now, just to give you a sense, 20 of these, and there's well more than 20 of these, will sell for about 60 to 65 bucks. And so I didn't count them yet, but there's just a ton. I mean, there's all sorts of, I mean, if you like Star Wars, you like Star Trek, I mean, you could just see here, again, the condition is just amazing. You like, look at this. Look at these covers. I mean, these are awesome. If you are a Star Wars fan, science fiction fan, you are just probably going crazy looking at this stuff right now. I mean, it's amazing. And if you like the heavy metal movie, I don't know if Melanie's watching this. She probably loves heavy metal. So look at this, Swamp Thing. Now this movie wound up being terrible, but I love Swamp Thing. I grew up reading Swamp Thing comic books, Alec Holland, the whole thing. I love all this stuff. Every single thing here, nostalgia. Look at the Conan the Barbarian films. I mean, I could just go on and on. There's just so much stuff. A lot of Star Trek stuff, a lot of Star Wars stuff. We've got E.T., all the 80s science fiction movies, you know, pretty much wind up being covered here. I mean, look at this. It's just amazing. Dark Crystal. They are making a new Dark Crystal movie. So that's popular. If you have any Dark Crystal stuff, I mean, there's just a ton. I don't want to show every single one of these because there's just so much of it. It's just I can't even cover it all. There's just so much. So we'll be here forever. So I'm going to put those to the side, but that is just a whole big stack of the Fantastic Films. Then I've talked to you about graded comic books before that come in a slab. This is an example of one right here, and this one is pretty popular. So you can see this is in a plastic slab, so it's certified graded. This is the company I told you that is the most popular one by far. It's CGC. That's what you really want to look for. There are other companies that do it, CBCS and PGX, but CBC is definitely the best one. This gives you a grade of 9.2. So this is a good grade to have, and this is going to out of 10. And then it's going to tell you some special things about the book right here. And this one is the first appearance of Gambit. That makes this one really popular. So with having a high grade being a key issue, this X-Men issue, that there's something real important that happened in it because Gambit is a popular character. So this will go for around 150 bucks. Now it could go for a little bit less than that. Sometimes it go for a little bit more. But right now, the cheapest that you could get this in this grade is $155 on eBay. That's the cheapest you could get it. So again, all depends on market rate, and these things sell, and they sell pretty fast. So that's a good one right there. Very happy about that. Now, there's a lot of these treasury books right here. So these are treasury comic books. They are much bigger than your average size comic book. In fact, I don't even think I bought any regular size comic books at all during this entire haul. So a lot of these are really magazines and oversized comics. But this one here, The Amazing World of Superman, again, in incredible condition. No exaggeration, these treasury books always sell. I have literally never, and I have had hundreds of them, they always sell. And you just want to make sure you get them in pretty decent condition. But even if they have, some creases and stuff like that, even sometimes some stains, they'll still sell. But this is in great condition. You can see inside, black and white. This one here would go for around $30 to $35 just for this one. And there are specialized comic book bags you could buy from the same company, BCW. They're actually called treasury size bags and treasury size boards. So I just put them inside of that to protect them when I'm shipping them out. But this one dates back to 1973. So that's that one right there. We have got a lot of other, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's definitely a nice little bunch here of other treasury comic books. So again, if you see one here that you like, just reach out to me, let me know. We've got this Bicentennial Captain America one here. Again, they're all in similar condition. If you like Wonder Woman, we've got Wonder Woman here. Now this one had a price sticker on it of $50. I don't think it would sell for $50. The stickers on here tend to be a little exaggerated in terms of what the actual value should be. But still, this is a nice one here too. This is called Famous First Editions. These came out from DC. So DC made treasury books, treasury size books, and so did Marvel right there. So these are much bigger than the average size comic book. So here we've got one as well. I've sold this one many times. This is not, this one I'm going to show you here is not, the most expensive kind of one that you could get. But it's, again, the limited collector's edition. May sell for like 20 bucks or so, this Superman one. It just depends on, what's going on in the market at the time, what other people have it priced at in terms of comparison. But you could see here, really nice inside, and they've got these really big dramatic pages inside, sometimes with fun activities. So you do want to make sure you check those to make sure that there was no writing in there, because that would need to be something that was disclosed. But most of the time when I find them, in fact, I rarely can even remember times where I found them with writing inside of them. Usually it doesn't happen. There's these big giant pages inside that are also really fun that you don't usually see in a regular size comic books. So that's something else that's really cool about the treasury. So we've got that one here as well. And this one was really cool also. I'm just gonna, again, peel off this sticker. I didn't have a chance to do all that before I turn the camera on. But this one here is a portfolio of Incredible Hulk pictures, and it's still sealed in the original package. This one dates back to 1980. So nice old vintage piece and looks brand new. I mean, literally looks like it was just made, but it's from the 1980s. There's a lot of ones here that if Don the auction professor is watching, I'm sure he would love these, because I was just watching one of his videos tonight which he was talking about all items that he purchased for $1 or less and sold for like, $70, $80. You should go check that video out. But one of the ones he had in there was a Bruce Lee magazine, and these magazines right here, they're comic book magazines called The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. Some of these sell for crazy money, so some of them sell for well over $100 depending on which issue you pick up. So ones that have Bruce Lee on the cover or ones that have Chuck Norris on the cover tend to do pretty well. I'm going to show you some of the covers of these right here. So here's one right here. Here's one right here. So these are kind of more standard covers. Here we've got Bruce Lee on the cover. We're going to show you some others, and there's one here that is a really good cover that you definitely need to see. This one has Iron Fist on it. So Iron Fist is a very popular character in these Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazines too. So we've got those. There's just a lot of really good covers that are here. So yeah, pay attention to these ones that have Bruce Lee on the cover. They always sell for a little bit more. This one here is also a key one that you want to pay attention to. It's one of the ones I wanted to show you earlier. This one is number 19, and the important thing about this, even though I showed you Iron Fist earlier, the reason why this is important is because this is when Iron Fist took over and became the main character of the series, and that makes this one worth more money. Easily in this condition, should be able to get at least around $50 out of it. In near mint condition, certified graded, I should actually say near mint plus condition. If I sent this thing out to get graded, and it's not near mint plus because you could see on the back, there's some stains on the back of it and stuff. But if it was in that condition, just to give you an idea in terms of potential for comic books, if it was put in a slab and stuff, this one would sell for about $1,500 in near mint plus condition. That's an actual sold price for this comic book. So the money in comics can be absolutely insane. It's crazy. So this is another good one here. Depending on condition, this one is sold for over $100 as well. They have to be near mint usually to sell in that kind of range, but again, it just gives you an idea in terms of the potential for a lot of these comics. And there's just a ton of them. Here's one with Chuck Norris in them. Chuck Norris, still very popular. I love Chuck Norris movies. If you ever watched Silent Rage, that is one of my favorite movies. If you ever saw it, please let me know that down in the comment section. And if you didn't see it, it's a little known movie with Chuck Norris in it. It's just a great film. So check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. It's horror related kind of, but he basically takes on this invincible serial killer kind of thing. It's pretty cool. So check that one out. But anything with Chuck Norris in it does pretty good as well. So this one is also a good one here. This one has sold for good money for me in the past as well. So there's just a lot of them. I just can't show you every single cover like in detail. I don't want to drop them or damage them, but I'll just show you like a couple other of the covers real quick. And you're going to see Bruce Lee a couple of other times maybe in here as well. But that reminds me, by the way, martial arts stuff that's vintage, 80s, 70s, even if they're martial arts books, if they have nothing to do with comic books, but they're 80s martial arts books. Long time people who have subscribed to my channel might remember me picking up some martial arts books from an estate sale, and I wound up flipping them for like, I don't remember, like $70, $80, $90. It was some crazy number, and I wound up just getting them for a few bucks. They were martial arts training books. They were just kind of showing you, the different steps that you need to do. They're, again, 1980s, sell really well. Now in here, there's just random books, so I'm not going to be able to shoot prices out to you for the majority of them. But you could pretty much say that for most of these, I should be able to get at least $10. And some of them, I should be able to get more out of. Like anything like this is so cool. Like just these old vintage horror magazines, I absolutely love these things. So Shriek or Freddy Krueger. So all you horror fans who love Michael Myers and and Freddy Krueger, just all these kind of things are just really neat. If you like werewolves, there's cool old vintage werewolves magazines back in here. This one's pretty interesting. You can see this one actually had a price of $100 on it, which is too much. This is not worth $100. The reason why, I've sold this book without a signature on it before, but this one is actually signed by Todd McFarlane. It does not come with a certificate of authenticity. However, the person that I purchased it from is totally legit and actually witnessed this being signed. I know anyone could say that, but this person is definitely on the up and up, and I guarantee that this would pass any type of certification test or anything like that. So this is definitely authentic. Now, it's better if this is in a different color ink on the top of this part right here. That's how most of them usually come up. And if you had it that way, it'd probably be about $65 for a signed version like this, even if it didn't come with a certificate of authenticity. So I would hope maybe I could get around $50 just out of this book alone. It's not worth the 100, but it's still a great book. This one here, anything with the 60s and 70s Batman characters on it. Like I just told you earlier in the video, I just sold a poster with Adam West and Burt Ward for $20 from the shed that I wound up getting all of those, the barn I should say, where I wound up getting all those posters from. So that's a cool one there. You know what, these I'm gonna save for later. I'll show you why. But anything Beatles related that's vintage, Beatles stuff sells pretty well, so I like to pick up anything that's Beatles. So these are the Savage Sword of Conan's. You may remember these from one of my haul videos. I sold a big lot of them for hundreds of dollars. If you could get big lots of these, that's great. I only wound up picking up a few of them, so I'm just gonna hold on to them, and if I could get a big enough lot for them, I will definitely sell them off together in a group. I had to jump on these. I am a huge classic Doctor Who fan, huge. I have every single Doctor Who from the classic series, from William Hartnell all the way through Sylvester McCoy, every single one of them on VHS, every single one of them on DVD. I have a lot of the new series too, but I don't like the new series as well. But I used to get these mailed to me from England when I was a kid. These are the Daleks right here. If you ever see the Daleks, which is the Doctor's archenemy from the planet Skaro, you definitely want to pick these up. These are great. These come from the 1980s. This one here is from 1989. So I've got 2 copies of this here. And speaking of Sylvester McCoy, there he is as well. They started making these magazines when Tom Baker was the Doctor, so he was the 4th Doctor. So it had a pretty nice run to it, and these thinner ones, and they still make it, but they're much thicker magazines, and they're filled with a lot of great content in it. So anytime you see Doctor Who magazines, they sell really well. So pick them up. This one here, some of you may have had this as a kid. This is the first ever G.I. Joe magazine right here. Probably like a $10, $11, maybe $12 issue, but still, all these things add up, and I have a couple of them right there. So there's 2 of the G.I. Joes. Okay, so anything with Dracula or vampires, definitely pick those up. Melanie's probably drooling over watching these if she's still watching. And these are just, I'm like Don the Auction Professor in the sense that I'm just going to keep these things around for a while, and then eventually when I get to listing them, I list them. I'm not in a huge rush. I'm going to get my money back really quick by listing a couple of these things like that, that certified slabbed X-Men comic book and stuff. But, I don't mind sitting on these things for a while. But again, if you want them earlier than that, just let me know. Vampirella, I've talked about her before. Any Vampirella books, I don't care if they're new, I don't care if they're old. These are older ones. These here go back to 1974. So we've got issue number 37, we've got issue number 41 there. I've got another G.I. Joe magazine. This is just crazy. Here's a good Star Wars comic book right here. It's a thicker one. Kind of like a trade paperback, but not quite, but it's a thicker comic book right here. So we've got this one as well. So that's everything that's in this box. Now, what have I been holding back from you over here? Well, in this box right here, and this box is huge right here. You can see this is a big box. This box is filled with vintage Starlog magazines. So Starlog is a science fiction magazine that had all sorts of covers on it, all the stuff that you grew up with as a kid if you grew up in the 80s. So we've got RoboCop, we've got Gremlins, we've got Who Framed Roger Rabbit on it. So some animation stuff in there, but you can see there Gremlins again. We've got Star Trek, all this stuff. I mean, there are hundreds of these, not only in this box, but in the next box that I'm going to show you. Going rate for about 100 Starlog magazines would be about $225 for that many Starlogs. I mean, that's like, that's what I would say is like the max on it. So it depends on how you want to do it. You could sell them in lots of 100. You could sell them in lots of 30. You could sell them in lots of 50. However you want to piece it out. So Starlogs are good, but you've got to get them at a good bulk rate like I was able to get them at. I'm going to just look through here real quick because I didn't actually look through the entire box when I was in there, but I'm just looking to the bottom right now, and this is indeed all Starlogs right there. There's also some Star Trek Next Generation magazine, so there's a whole big lot of these. All of these are Star Trek Next Generation. So if you like Star Trek Next Generation, again, let me know, and I could try to hook you up with a deal on these Star Trek mags. Now, this is the biggest box right here. This box is insane in terms of how heavy this thing is. I don't even know if I could lift this thing sitting down, but it is big. Let's see. This thing is huge. Look at the size of this thing right here. Oh my God, this thing is tremendous. This thing is filled with magazines, mostly Starlog magazines. So you can see right here, I'm gonna just tilt this like this. All of that is Starlog magazines up top. Now, the side of this box though does say, where is it? Okay, right over here. So I'm gonna try to lift this up again, hopefully not throw my back out. But this one here, on the side of it there, it says that there's other things inside. It says something about Howard the Duck. Now, I did not open these up when I was inside in terms of digging deep inside. I opened up top, I skimmed through, I saw what I needed to see to know that this is gonna be a good deal. But in terms of if there's anything else inside of here, like if there's old Howard the Duck comic magazines, that would be terrific. So I am going to look through here. Now you can see here we've got Return of the Jedi stuff, just as like an example. I'll just show you like a few more. Just a lot of Star Wars stuff, Superman stuff. So if you love this stuff, if you're a big Star Wars fan, again, just let me know because there's just tons of stuff related to that in here. But I'm going to go through here right now, and we'll be surprised together if there's anything else in here. So far, it looks like it's all Starlog. And like you look here, this one alone has a price of $18 on it. Now, I'm not saying that's a realistic price. I don't even know. I'd have to look it up. But this is what someone was trying to sell these things for. So that one there was, again, had an $18 price tag on it. Now, here's something for Howard the Duck, the movie. And so that makes me wonder if Howard the Duck being written on there, if that was just referring to the Starlog magazine. So there might not be anything else in here besides Starlog. Let's keep looking. All these are Starlog. Let's see. Is there anything else besides that in here? I'll take another dig into here. I mean, it just keeps going and going, and it's just all Starlog. I think it's all Starlog. I don't think there's any other anything else in here besides that. So there's just a ton of it though. This maybe just give you a little bit of a better sense. I'll lift this up so you could just kind of see inside of here. Like that's how many just in one side of the box there. And it looks like it is all Starlog. I don't see anything. Oh, is there something else down there? Nope, that's a magazine. Yeah, so it's all Starlog magazines, but that's still fine because, like I said, there's a lot of value in there. I would say for this whole collection, we definitely have thousands of dollars worth of material here. How much did I pay for everything? $450. Now, that's important because that sounds like a lot of money, right? $450, but you have to remember what the value of these things are. So right here alone is right around $150 of value just in this one item. Then there's the comic book supplies, which that is like $70 in value right there. And then if you look at the Mad magazines, I just showed you earlier when we started the video, 50 of them from the 80s and 90s sold for 130. So I should be able to get, you know, about 150 out of 50 of them here. You know, maybe it'll go for a little bit more, maybe it'll go for a little bit less. You know, you never know until you actually put it up there and try again and see what your competition is like. But those are just approximates. So if I sold this one and 2 sets of those 50 Mad magazines, right there, that's all my money back. Everything else is then the profit, and that's how I do it. So I could literally make most of my money back or all of my money back with 3 eBay transactions from this. So I want to mention something else about comic books, because a lot of times when I talk about comic books, and some of these are technically comic books, they're just comic book magazines, but a lot of times when I talk about picking up comic book collections, I've told you to try to pick them up for between 10 and 20 cents a piece. Usually an average would be about 15 cents. The more you buy, the less you should wind up paying. So I've had times where I've bought them for less than 10 cents a piece, but that's when you're buying a massive collection. And you might say, well, this sounds like a massive collection. It does, but it's not. This is not somebody's personal collection. What I am talking about, that 10 to 15 cent range or 10 to 20 cent range, is when you're buying someone's individual collection. When you're doing something like this and you are cherry picking from a local supplier, well, that person knows what the value of some of these things are. And so when you're going into something with a known value, like something like this, you can't pay $1 or 15 cents for something like this. You know, it's just not going to work out that way. So then you've got to just bump up the, you've got to bump up the price depending on what that particular items are. Like I know the rate for the Mad magazines, for example, so I know what I have to pick them up for. And that's basically how you have to do it. So you have to be willing to pay up if it makes sense. It's just like the train set collection that I purchased that I spent $430 on. I made all my money back on that in one transaction. I know some of you are probably sick of hearing me talk about that, but it's, again, just bringing the point home that this is a way that you can make a lot of money in reselling, but you have to be willing sometimes, not all the time. Like I said, go over to Don's video and you can see how you could buy things, for $1 or less, and you can flip them for good money. And I do that a lot. You've seen that a lot of my sales, but this is another way that you could go out and you could also make big money. You just have to make a good connection with a local supplier in that area. It's so important. Funny little thing that I like to do, and the person knows this person loves Swedish fish. So I make sure before I go, I buy this person a nice big king size package of Swedish fish, and he likes mango drinks and stuff. So I'll bring in all sorts of stuff, and it just helps as not that I need an icebreaker because I know this person for years and we've been doing deals, but it's still good. You go in, it's a nice overture. It kind of just lightens up the mood. When he saw it, I just brought him in one thing today, which was the bag of Swedish fish, and I got this amazing deal. Now, I probably would have got that without it, but it just really does help because it's just a nice thing to do. What it cost me? $1.50 to buy the guy a bag of Swedish fish, but those kind of things are important because, again, they help build that relationship. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Hope that you enjoyed it. If so, please make sure you hit the like button. We're going to try to do some more treasure hunting this weekend. There's estate sales going on. There may be some garage sales and stuff, so we're going to look around and see what we could find, and I will bring you along on the ride. So I hope you enjoyed it. If so, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Smash that like button. Make sure you come to that Facebook Reselling Resource Center. Tons of fun events going on. It's crazy. Continues to grow at just an amazing pace. So come on by. Lots of positive energy in the group. There's no trolling, nothing like that. I've got amazing moderators in there that keep that group under control, and we all really pitch in together as a community. It's a really great, fun place. Follow me on Instagram at prime_time_treasure. And remember, let me know if there's anything here you like, and we'll see if we make a deal. I'll see you back at the next video, everybody. Take care.